Good morning. Welcome to the Shee DC morning show. My name is Elena, and I'm so happy to have you on the show this morning. For real, honestly. Once I caught wind of you and all that you had going on and all that you were bringing for our community, that just
Thank
warmed my heart like instantly. It's like, look, come on, get her on this week, like right now, right
you.
this second. Like everybody needs to hear what she's doing and what she got going on and how like and nothing can stop you. There's no reason that you can't do nothing that you need to do in your life. There's no reason because you are a proven fact.
Thank you.
You are a proven fact that
Thank you.
stuff can happen. You can move on from it. And you can build from that. And you can help bring light into somebody else's life. I'm telling you, that is amazing.
Thank
You
you.
are amazing.
Thank you. And thank you for having me here, sis. And you're amazing too for just giving a platform for individuals like myself and
Why
others to
not?
be able to
You
come
don't have
on.
no. Why not? What other platforms do we have? I mean, you got to jump through hoops. You got to do all these different things just to be seen, just to be heard. You got to have 1,000 followers. You got to have 50 million people retweeting you. Why?
Hmm.
Do that
Right.
make your message or your goal or what you have to offer less valuable because you don't have 1,000 million people following you and 1,000 million people sharing?
Right. Right.
No, no, not at all. So that's the main focus of our show, to have a platform for local businesses, local advocates, local artists, local everything, anything that's DMV. Just to have a platform to share with the world, honestly. So I'm just grateful that you allowed us to be your first interview.
Thank you. Thank you.
So tell me about yourself. Tell me about your journey. Um, Tell me about your company. I want to know everything.
So really, I hate the fact that I even have to like classify, but my organization is just that. It's an organization in which
Mm-hmm.
we don't take any funds from individuals to do any work. So we don't take any profit from folks. It's kind of like important to know that.
Donation.
Yeah, so it's kind of important to know that we are for the community. Absolutely. There's nothing that, we charge our community members for. Um, so my name is Qiana, and I'm the executive director of an organization called Life After Release. This organization is based in Prince George's County, Maryland, and it is an organization that it is an organization that focuses on the reentry, comprehensive reentry options for individuals that are returning back home from jail or prison, with
Okay.
a primary focus in women and girls and Black liberation, because we believe that once Black people are free, that we all are free, because
Amen.
the original intention of the oppressors was to oppress Blacks. Everybody else is kind of caught up in the net that was cast for us. So in doing this work, we are very, very intentional around ensuring that women have the tools that they need to be able to advocate for themselves, as well as having the resources that they need for themselves. We also help individuals with participatory defense, which is one of our most rewarding pieces of work. Participatory defense is where we actually legally empower. I'm not an attorney and it's not a legal clinic, but it is a model that's being followed across the country, that is led by an organization called Debug. And we are one of 33 hubs around the country
Mm-hmm.
that are participating in participatory defense. So that is a very rewarding piece of work. So if anybody is listening and have a court case in DC or in Maryland, and you need assistance with this court case, especially during the COVID season, right? Because we're still hosting virtual meeting spaces with individuals, so that, so we can talk to them about their cases and, how they get in touch with their attorneys, and, during the COVID season. And because unfortunately, the courts are closed right now in Prince George's County and the state of Maryland until like around June 1st or so. So that means that a lot of cases are being pushed back. People's court dates are coming up and things like that. So participatory defense is a huge part of the work. Um, Court watching is our second piece of work, and those two things kind of go hand in hand. We have a court watching program that we are able to go into the courts and just basically see what folks are doing, document them, and be able to let folks, let our elected officials who are in the courts, judges, prosecutors, know the inconsistencies that we see that are blocking justice from prevailing. So that's what our Court Watch program is about. And then it's just right now during this season of COVID, we are doing a mutual aid. So we just kind of like, although we have a stable mission, our organization is very pliable to the community and the community's needs. So we, as situations arise, such as COVID, we are able to reach out to the community, see what their needs are, and try to meet their needs as best as possible. So far, we have been able to help in Prince George's County, particularly District 7 and 8, which folks jokingly call Ward 9, which I don't think DC residents are very happy about that. But it's very, very similar in a lot of the ways that, the residents of that county are similar to the residents of Wards 7 and 8. So as a core member myself of Black Lives Matter DC, we have combined those efforts of those parts of Prince George's County and the District of Columbia for mutual aid efforts. So we've been providing groceries, diapers, formula, bread, milk, cheese, eggs, both perishable and non-perishable items to folks. We have serviced 2 families so far that have had, the whole family has COVID-19 in the Hyattsville area. So we were able to do contact delivery to them, contactless delivery to them. I think it was a family of 9 and a family of 7. The youngest child was like 4 months old that had contracted COVID. So those are like the needs of those are the needs of our community. And Life After Release has a clear pulse, so to speak, of what's going on in those areas and being able to reach those needs. So that's what we kind of like are doing now.
That is awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. So what made you decide, okay, so when you decided that you wanted to deal with women and children versus inmates as a whole, what brought you to that decision?
So we usually, and I just want to say this for folks that's listening, the state has made a set of terminology for folks, and inmates is one of those terminologies that's used, ex-convict, ex-felon, but these people are human. They're human beings. And so, I'd like to refer to them men, women, non-conforming, trans, just to call them by their particular pronouns so that they are, a part of our human race and not separated by what
part of the community because they made a mistake.
Exactly, what the state has determined as, the state has made a lot of labels, and through labeling, they're able to do a lot of brainwashing of the community against our own. So the reason why I have been able to have a more particular connection to the women and girls over the men. Now, don't get me wrong, I help men too, especially around participatory defense.
I've seen you help men before.
Yeah, we help men. We do help men. We do not leave our brothers out because we do believe that they are important. But what I believe also is that my connection, because I am a formerly incarcerated woman, I believe that I am more connected to the women population and women who identify as women only because I've been there and I've done that. I'm not able to effectively hold the needs of a Black man because I am not a Black man. I am a Black woman. And I'm a Black woman who has gone through the system, that has disproportionately, even in the criminal legal system, there is disproportions for women prisoners, quote unquote, and male prisoners, quote unquote. The system was actually designed originally to house and keep and to take our men. When the system started to see that was working very well, in about 1980s, they decided that they needed to ramp up the separation of the Black woman from the community, and they started to do that. So the inherent and the fundamental issues and circumstances that surround women are different than men. We have this parental and maternal and paternal, right? So when you snatch your mother away from her nursing or her child that she's breastfeeding, that is inherently and fundamentally different than if you take a father away from that child at that same age. So we have to identify those, and we can't start to generalize those. We do. It's the same thing as when, as a Black Lives Matter organizer, I say Black Lives Matter, and people say, no, all lives matter. No, Black Lives Matter, right? Okay, this is a time, and we, you know, and I'm unapologetic about saying that Black Lives Matter, and I'm unapologetic about saying that women's issues around the criminal legal system need to be separated, because if we don't, we will never get the actual things that we need. So I work with community, you know, I work with community. Shout out to Men Raising Men. Shout out to Men Raising Men and Fresh, and a few other organizations that particularly work with men. Now, when men work particularly with men, we don't usually question that.
That's even better.
Let's be clear.
I question. We on the show, we question everybody the same. We would like we like to know like all the details, your mindset, this, that, and the third, because
but like society as a whole, they don't feel the need to say, hey, Black man, why do you want to help only Black men? Because they know that Black men.
Who else is helping them?
But no, what she's saying is that generally comes from us. That we always like, well, why'd you leave out the men? And it's like, but wait, boo, I ain't leave out the men. All I'm doing is trying to represent what I actually know about.
Exactly.
That's it. I'm only trying to do that. It's not that I don't love my brothers. That's somebody else's testimony and mission. I'm not taking that from them. Yeah, I'm going to only do mine, and that's it.
Right. That makes sense. And I do communicate, because, you know, the resources are so scarce and the information is so scarce that I would be amiss not to, you know, I don't turn anybody away. I'll try to bring them in, and I will contact my partners. That's why we have a network, right? And being able to reach out to other organizations and other activists that I know are out here doing the work, to say, hey, look, I have this Black man, he needs this, that, and the third. And then because of my connections throughout the network, I'm able to still get that person resources. I just won't be the one, right, to give that to him.
That makes sense, because that just that's not your bag. That's somebody else's bag.
Right.
I got you. We do the same thing. You gotta stick to the bag, which you know. Do what you know. Yes, don't do nothing out of your scope. That's when stuff get messed up.
But you still get that blessing though, because it's amazing how many people don't actually know how to work together as a network and as a unit. And there are so many of us that are wrapped on making sure that we get those accolades for that particular referral. So we would rather do more harm than actually give up the accolades for that particular situation and story. And I'm gonna tell you right now, and that's tomfoolery, and that was taught backwards, and it was taught wrong. And I don't know how we came to that conclusion, but I'm definitely confident in saying that it's definitely incorrect. I think we should all work together. And I love the bag. I keep hearing about this bag. Can't wait to find out what store this bag is in, so I can them.
So tell me about so you say that you were incarcerated. Do you mind telling us about that part of your life, your journey?
Yeah, my life is an open book. You can Google me, as most have done. Not necessarily saying everything you're going to Google is going to absolutely be the truth. I was about to say, I'll probably get the facts from my truth is my truth. You know, nobody can take that from me, and it's okay. So, you know, I woke up this morning with that particular song on my heart, that my truth is my truth. And you know, as a formerly incarcerated woman, take it as you may, and understand that, you know, before my incarceration, I worked for the federal government for 11 years. And in doing that, I was, you know, I had everything that most average, middle class, capitalistic, bootstrapping, you know, work your way up the ladder, do your performance appraisals, all those things individuals had, right? I traveled, I owned a home, I, you know, had 2 sons, and I had a dog, all those things, right? And then, you know, I went to prison basically around a real estate transaction. And going to prison, going through my trial is what really made me realize that what we look at on TV, when we look at Law and Order, when we look at these different TV shows that are trying to brainwash us into believing that justice is real, we kind of fall into this thinking that there's a right and a wrong, a guilty and a not guilty. When that is such the furthest thing from the truth. And anybody who believes that, yeah, you don't know that. And so going through and going through my life without having anything, other than a parking ticket, and then having to be faced with going to prison for 2.5 years, which, let's be clear, I went to prison, not jail. There's only one prison in the state of Maryland. Okay, so yeah, let me give you the difference, right? So if you go outside, and I love to educate folks and make folks aware. So if you go outside and you're having a good time with your friends, and you may have had too much to drink, right? That's against the law, let's be clear. And you get pulled over and you take a breathalyzer test, and you go into, they handcuff you, they take you down to the detention center. That is known as jail. This is where you would stay in this place until you're processed, and you are either a bond is placed on you, which I can talk about that as well, because we're also doing free Black mamas bailout. Your bond is placed on you or not, and you are released. So the jail is a place where most folks go and are detained. Usually when you're sentenced to any type of time, as a result of a conviction, you are then you go to prison. In most states you have, in some places it's 12 months and 1 day. If you're sentenced, you go to prison. In other states and counties, it's 18 months and 1 day. So with my sentence being an 8.5-year sentence on a nonviolent crime, I was sentenced to prison. And so I went there, and it was what sparked my, my passion, and is what sparked me to understand that this is a systematic sense of oppression, regardless of what people may think, and believing that the police and that the prosecutors are doing this awesome job at being able to identify right and wrong. Or I can't necessarily say that is true, because we're constantly seeing convictions being overturned where individuals have spent 30, 40 years in a cage, and then they find out, oh, you didn't do it, and they are released. Doing that was a very, very rough time for me, but it's a solace to be able to do what I'm doing now, and come forth and be able to shine my light regardless. And my light is always shown, and be able to be a light for the people.
I heard you say trial when you went to trial, and a lot of people that I know don't particularly go to trial. They typically plead out. Mm-hmm. So what made you decide you were going to go to trial?
The charges that I were charged for, it was not anything that I had done. So when you sit down and you think about it, you're like, why would I plead guilty to something that this is false. This is not real. And I just couldn't wrap my head around, pleading out to something like that. And then it's only 10% of individuals actually go to trial. And you are usually punished when you do. And even once you go to trial, people think, okay, you're going to go to trial, you're going to be vindicated. That's not even the case either. No. When you go in there and evidence is starting to disappear, and people get on the stand that may not necessarily be. Oh, see, you took the words right out of my mouth.
The whole thing's lie when the prosecution make up, add stuff, sprinkle a little bit of stuff on the story to make it sound a little bit worse than what it is.
Let me tell you, I am a firm believer that your creator protects you, especially when you're foolish. And I am completely foolish. Even though I took a lot of criminal cases, a lot of criminal classes, I am a believer in fair, honest, just. And it's so unfortunate that system is not built for that. It's not designed for that. It's not set up for me to be fair, just, and honest, and allow it to be what it's supposed to be, period. Because it is a real clear, let's be real clear on this. Right is right and wrong is wrong, regardless. And I'm not saying that I'm not sliding between the lines sometimes. I have. But let's take into consideration everything concerning me sliding in that middle. Don't just take parts of it that you just want to make it look like I'm really doing what you say that I'm doing. Like, let's look at this whole thing as a piece. And that's the part that, that's problematic for me.
Well, in my studies and in my organizing, I have, and also I'm studying law now, and understanding that the criminalization of Black behaviors, I'm gonna say that again, the criminalization of who says, and that's why I don't use the word.
Did you say behavior?
Yeah. Let's go there. There's over 40,000. There's over 40,000 felony laws on the books.
I'm sorry, Qiana. I'm sorry. Hold on. I just need to make sure I got this. Are you telling me that there are laws on the books based on how brown people behave?
That's what I'm telling you. And I'm gonna give you a prime example because my son is a dirt bike rider, right? And a lot of Black and brown boys, a lot of Black and brown young men in this District of Columbia are dirt bike riders. And when I say criminalization of behaviors, then you have, if you go up into like Bethesda and some of the other places, you have skateboarders, scooter riders, and all of these things, and skates and all these other things that usually are inherent to white or non-Black boys that do these type of hobbies. So you have the white boys get skate parks. They are able to enhance their craft and practice and be out in the open and be free.
Yeah.
But then you have the Black boys, right, who the society is now telling us that, if you're a dirt bike rider, you are a thief. If you're a dirt bike rider, you are you're a hoodlum. When these
society.
Exactly, right? So when I say criminalization of behaviors, it's a science that they go in and say, what are the behaviors of Black people, and we're going to criminalize those things. And it's unfortunate, and that's how laws get into the books, and that's how crime. I don't usually use the word crime because crime is made up by the state. The state determines what is a crime and what is not a crime. Christopher Columbus came to this country and stole the whole damn country, and that wasn't a crime. He's got a holiday for it. So let's
and homeboy sanctioned people being killed. Okay, don't get me started. Like, we not gonna go there. We gonna stay right where we supposed to be, because we not.
So let's be very clear when I say criminalization of behaviors of what I'm saying. And then because the state tells us that it's a crime, we clutch our pearls and say, "Oh my God, this is a crime." When in actuality, it's a behavior that has been criminalized into a crime. Smoking marijuana for years was criminalized. Let's be all the way clear, right? Let's be clear. And so, it wasn't until the people who don't really look like us said, what, it's time for us to, we smoking weed, we want to smoke it out in the public, and let's get some dispensaries, let's decriminalize this thing, right? And a lot of work of organizations to come through and say, but it was a crime one time. So it was a crime at one time, and now it's not.
That's cool, because it wasn't always a crime.
Exactly. It wasn't always a crime. And then they criminalized it and made it a crime. And then they uncriminalized it. So let's be clear of who is running the show here, right? If they tell you today, that, Princess, that you can't wear Black t-shirts no more, miss. It's a crime to wear Black t-shirts because, it's a crime. It's a crime to wear your dreadlocks.
Yeah.
You can't do that no more, miss. We as the government,
all the way up. I can did
So let's,
this too
you know,
long now.
it's a crime to ride in a neighborhood and to be a black man with a busted tail light. That's a crime in some places, right? Let's be clear.
But that's supposed to be a crime everywhere. It shouldn't just be a crime just because he's brown or black. If Tom got a busted light and Juwan got a busted light, they both should be treated the same. Point blank, period. Go get your license. I take you on these streets again. I'm taking you down to the jailhouse. That's like what you shouldn't go to jail because your tail light busted. That don't make no sense.
Well, as an abolitionist, I don't believe that the jail shouldn't be there. I think that we need to focus more on our resources and start to divest from a lot of our criminal, from a lot of the criminal legal system, and investing it into housing, investing it into Head Start. Because they're criminalizing our children in the 3rd grade. So let's be very clear. But they're not giving them, I just heard that DC has lost their universal, is it universal or K-5? I don't know the terminology, but I think that that DC just lost their Head Start or pre-K. And that was one of the programs that DC had been running for years. I mean, people would move from PG County to DC. I know I did. I did. I had to go to work, and I used to live right over there in Paradise for a little while, and I moved. It was real close to Maryland, though. But I moved to Paradise, and I lived in Paradise so that my son could go to school and start his education, so that he can not only learn, but I could also go to work, and I didn't have to pay childcare, right?
Yeah.
So that program, let's talk about all the harm that's criminalizing the mother, because now the mother has to find out whether or not she's going to go to work, and work for her child and pay all this money for daycare. That's criminalization of our Black mothers. Let's be clear of the attack.
The struggle of trying to figure out whether the person you left them with doing your child the right way, all that good stuff. Yep.
Yeah. Not to talk about how CPS now is coming into play, and that's a new pipeline to prison for the Black mother, who makes the decision. So CPS is coming in. We have different pipelines to prison. Most people usually hear the school to prison pipeline because it's very sexy, right? And then people talk about it a lot. But we have now the CPS to prison pipeline, which are criminalizations of Black mothers' decisions around parenting their children, where the system is now coming in and saying that because a mother has made the decision to, leave her child with the older cousin, and something happens in the household because she had to work 2 jobs, and now the mother is going to go to jail for neglect because she made that decision to leave her child. A mother left her child in the car because she wanted to go on a job interview, and when she came out of that car, into that car, and leaving her child in that car while she was in that job interview, now she's going to go to jail. Instead of providing her with resources, they're going to take her child and put criminal charges on her. So let's be clear what we're calling crimes. Let's be clear what we're calling crimes, and let's identify the different pipelines to prison and how they are continuously creating a lot of these agencies to funnel the prison system.
Okay, so tell me more about, I've heard that terminology several times, pipelines to prison. Throughout your extensive research, can you give me a few more of them? You just said one of them is CPS to prison, right? And then I remember a long time ago, the war on drugs was a situation. So what type of pipeline would that have been? Because that seems to be something that's reoccurring now.
It's reoccurring, but it was designed to be that way. It was designed to be evolutionary. It was designed that with each generation that was coming up, that they could manipulate and maneuver that war on drugs act and that war on drugs situation to fit to criminalize the next set of generation of kids that are coming up and going into the system. So you have variations of that. We have it's just a really messed up way of us being able to have these crimes on the books that are sending our people away.
Right. So I understand about petty crimes, right? Everybody's participating in a whole bunch of petty crimes. But and I'm more solution based. So if we have a situation where we have a mom who's incarcerated, for lack of a better word, for me, and she actually did what they say she did, then where do we go with her? Like, how do we support her at that point? Because she did what they say she did, and it was a heinous act. Let's say murder. Okay, so she murdered that person. Where do we go from there? How do we then support her children? How do we then make sure that for whatever reason that caused her to commit the murder does not then go to her babies? What are we doing at that point? How can we get together to do that?
Absolutely. And I just want to say as a woman who served 2.5 years in a cage inside of a prison, first and foremost, please understand that you won't go into, I'm going to talk particularly about the Maryland prison. You're not going to go into that prison and find a whole bunch of serial rapists. You're not going to go into that prison and you're not going to find a whole bunch of serial murderers.
I don't mean to cut you off. Were you incarcerated in Upper Marlboro, or where were you?
So Upper Marlboro is the jail.
Jail.
Every county has a detention center, and then you go to the big house, quote unquote.
Right.
That's in Jessup. That's in Jessup.
Yes. Okay.
So you won't find a lot of serial murderers. So women who are taking lives for the sake of just doing that, and you're not going to find a lot of women who are for the sake of
just malicious.
Yeah, malicious. You're going to find a woman that maybe had too much to drink, and she got in her car, and as a result of her decision to have too much to drink, her car became a weapon, and she had a vehicular manslaughter against someone. You're going to find a woman whose husband or boyfriend or uncle or somebody traumatized them most of their life, and then they woke up one day and threw a lamp or and blunt force trauma, and that murder happened. You're not going to find, or you're going to find a woman who, because of her addiction to drugs, which is rooted in other traumas that caused her to be in her addiction, you're going to find that host of things that are related to that particular addiction to come through and manifest itself as other things, shoplifting, gambling, all these other things will manifest, and that's what it will look like. So the roots, getting to the root of the issue of why that woman was in there, and trying to reach her need at that root level, and then also being very supportive of her kids is also very important. And I get that there's a lot of jealous people out here in this world, unfortunately. And there's a lot of people, when the bills try to get passed for folks who are incarcerated to go to college, when folks are incarcerated to get like these different things that'll help them better themselves. The haters are going to rise up. Why she get a Pell Grant? Why she incarcerated, and my daughter, I did what I was supposed to do. You know what I mean? And so, I don't know if anybody ever saw that is a meme where there's three boys. One is real tall. He can see over the fence. The other one is kind of medium, and he can barely see over the fence. And then there's a really short one. He can't see over the fence at all. And then there's the other meme has the boxes, and they had to give the real short young man 3 boxes so that he could see over the fence. And then they had to give the medium young man 2 boxes so he could see over the fence. But the tall gentleman, he didn't need a box. But when you put them on the same boxes, it's going to always, we live in a society where our needs are different, right?
Absolutely. Everybody's different.
It's about equality, and equality, it looks different for everybody.
Yeah.
So, don't punish those children because of the mother, because of what the mother has gone through. If she, she's in that situation, support her, lift her up. I tell folks all the time, when a man goes to prison, all the mamas step up for him. The baby mama, the mama's mama, the auntie, the grandmama, all the mamas step up. But when a mama goes to prison, everybody scatters. They throw judgment. They cast shame. They project. They blame. They don't put money on her books. But when a man goes, honey, she going to go put that money on her bad book. She gonna marry that man. She gonna, so. Yeah. we are really, as women, yeah.
Well, I mean, you do realize that's a whole nother topic, right? like black and brown women, especially the ones in America, have always been like the major bottom of the totem pole, like point blank period. So and that is also by design, and I think that it's coming along. I just don't know if I'll see it in my lifetime. I'm just hoping that my grandkids and my great grandkids get to see how the black unit not being in conflict with each other is actually a possibility. And I'm really looking forward to them breaking those particular strongholds, because it's an interesting dynamic. Like you said, you got so many different women that will hold a man down, but at the end of the day, it's very few women that have the ability to say, listen, my man will always hold me down, and she feels confident and secure. My daddy always got my back. My brother gonna always go to bat for me. You know what I mean? And there's some women that just don't have the ability to say those things in reference to the brown man. So that's another topic in itself.
Or the fact that they expect black women to be some type of superhero. We got it. We can carry the load on our own.
We always have, though, in all fairness.
We have, because we have no choice.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure if we had a choice to carry the load versus share it with somebody else or not have so much, I'm pretty sure we would choose not to have so much of a heavy load.
What I'm saying is we, like, literally, we've always bared that.
Yeah.
Period. If you go, it doesn't matter which culture you go back to, we have always been that. We are the heart. It's not going to change unless you ask the creator to, like, change that. I don't know, but I personally think we've always been the heart. Were we supposed to be mistreated? No, that was some kind of freak accident that happened. Evil was at work, at play. So I don't think that was supposed to be the intent, but I do know for a fact that Black women are the center of everything. Without the Black woman, nothing else exists. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. Nothing else exists. So in me knowing that, there's never a chance or opportunity or place where the burden isn't always on my back. Because I know that without me, y'all don't exist. So I accept it. I just don't want to be treated like you don't realize that I'm the reason why you're here. That's it. Like, I don't want to be treated like that.
Understood. I feel you. I hear that. I hear you.
So, Black moms, when they are incarcerated, and so, like you were stating, which is, I'm so pleased with the way in which you answered the question. Secretly, like, I'm bubbling up inside, like, come on. You took it and you ran with it, and that's exactly what I was looking for, honestly. I wanted to let our listeners know there's a big difference in the type of women that we see on TV. That's those moms that are in TV in jail. That's not necessarily matching the reality of those moms that's in jail. Like, jail maybe, but prison probably not.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So yeah, it's different. It's different. Everybody ain't gonna, go in and come out like Remy Ma, right? Everybody ain't gonna go in and come out like Lil Kim. Everybody ain't gonna go out and come out like that. This place was built to destroy and break you. This place was designed to dehumanize individuals. And so when you go into this place and most people already come in broken, and then you come into this place and then that's it. In Maryland prisons in particular, there are, I can only speak about Maryland prisons. There is no, even the clothes that they issue us are from men.
Yep. The place you live at's terrible.
For everything is designed for a man. They just throw women. They just throw women in it, but it's really designed for men. So like like let's be clear around like the clothing. They barely have underwear and bras for you. You
sanitary
know,
napkins and stuff.
Oh, we passed a law in 2018, I think 2017, around feminine hygiene products being available for free. You know, men don't come on their periods. Period.
Yep. So it's easier for them.
You
less
know,
money.
so you don't, you know, you're holding a woman in custody, and you don't have toilet paper for her, you don't have hygiene products for her, you don't have these things, then why the hell are you holding her in custody? That is a form of cruel and unusual punishment. If you go down to the Maryland jail in the Maryland jail in the what is it, the puppy pound, the animal shelter, are close by each other. And I've been to both places because I haven't had to go in there and bought a dog before. And I've just compared the conditions at this animal shelter, and the way they treat the animals in the animal shelter is a lot better than the way that they treat individuals who are women, human beings who are in a cage. That to me is despicable, and it is a direct indication of the way we are as a society. And it's just horrible. So, you know, women prisoners, I mean, everything that's on the commissary is usually made and catered towards the men. Even the body wash scents, you can't even get you a good a blossom or cherry blossom scent. You got to do ocean breeze, or something like that for the, you know, that's, you know, like.
Well, I mean, again, I know this sounds really crazy, but in all fairness, we are talking about a country that doesn't provide basic survival for the people that live here. So if we're talking about that, then of course they're going to miss the fact that they incarcerate women and they have basic needs for survival when they don't even care about the basic needs for survival for the humans that's not behind the box. So if they did, you know, things like water, food, shelter, all those things that you actually need in order to survive, they would be pretty much free. You know? And then, you know, so if they, of course they can't think about a woman that's incarcerated that's gonna come on her period when they can't think about making sure that all the water is clean that everybody got to drink. So, you know, I mean, we expecting them to do a lot more than they capable of doing.
America's a third world country. I mean, and COVID came and showed them. COVID pulled up and was like, "What you got?" And they was like, "We ain't got shit." Like, you know, we ain't got nothing, right? We don't have nothing.
Qiana, you could curse on our show.
Oh, okay.
But I heard you 2 times kind of foul back from it, but you can't curse. You fine.
I did. You know, that COVID pulled up and was like, "What y'all got?" And they was like, "Oh, we don't have no plans for how we want to release folks. We don't have no plans for our elderly." Let's be clear. The most vulnerable populations are populations that they don't care about. It ain't just the prisoner. It ain't just the prisoners, quote unquote, that they don't care about. They don't care about the elderly. They don't care about Black and brown people. They have. If you don't go to work every day and make $75,000 or more, they don't care about you. Correctional officers, they don't care about you. Police officers, they don't care about you. You know, so like, let's be clear.
But you know, in all fairness though, it is around the board, right? Because those same correctional officers that are going in there for like $12, $15 an hour, treating those people like they're not humans, they're getting paid to do that. And they have to have the mindset, or they should think about the mindset that they have while they're doing this job. And if your mindset is already messed up, if you already not a good human, and then you put yourself in a predicament where you get to be around a whole bunch of humans and you're already not a good human, then all you're going to do is send that same negative energy to those other humans. And you just going to make it worse because you're miserable at a job that you chose for yourself to come and maybe possibly be in danger because you can't realize all of the systematic situations that's in place to keep these people where they are. And you don't want to consider or look into any of those things. So it makes it a little bit difficult when you don't actually love yourself to go to a job where you're required and responsible for other humans if you actually don't even love yourself? How you gonna love them and take care of them?
So I will say this: I'm a second generation immigrant to this. You know, my family, my mother's family is from Guyana, and they came over to this country with the goals and the dreams to have a piece of that American pie. And they bootstrapped, they educated, they got everything that they needed so that they have the professions of doctors and lawyers and respiratory therapists, nurses, and all these things. And so like that was a really big part for my family to come over here and do that. So let's be clear, a lot of that's an attack in and of itself. You don't see, there's not a lot of white security guards. There's not a lot of white correctional officers. The correctional officers are now the jobs that most individuals who are coming over into this country from African, from different places that are migrating in here, they are not whites. They are, so what you back in the day, we had slave catchers. And yes, sir, master, I was gonna get that slave for you, son. I'm gonna put that slave over here in the corner, so I was gonna make sure that slave not talk, sir. So what we have now is we have a plot against individuals who are coming over into this country to try to find a better living for themselves. And they don't, they get into these different jobs where they can work 2, 3, 4, 5 different shifts because they're also trying to go to school, right? And so it's a lot of different dynamics that are being at play. They are attacking the Africans that are coming into this country that are trying to get a job. They're slapping these are the jobs that are easy for them to get, that they're coming over here, and getting these jobs. And so they, of course, they're not going to care about you, who they think that are the scum of the earth. They're not going to care about you. Oh, you're just an inmate, quote unquote. I'm going to do whatever I want to do to you because I'm working hard. It's so easy to put us against each other. People, wake up, learn, pay attention. If I